And welcome back. Today we are going to talk about the mandala project. With a mandala, what we're doing is we are creating a pattern that goes around the circle, and we are going to be using some color schemes that we talked about when we spoke about color schemes. So this first one here we're going to look at is a mountain sunset, and it is an analogous color scheme. So we've got violet, red and red orange, and then of course we have the tints of that in with some whites, and then we go a little bit darker by adding a little bit of black in there in some spots. So what we have is, we look at it, we have 1/4 of the design is what the design is, and then we take that and it is rotated, and it fills in over here, and then it fills in over here, and then it fills in over here. This particular one, where the edges are, it doesn't quite line up, and that's fine. If you want to make it look like it lines up, then you can, but you just need to make sure that we measure upwards, so that way we hit the same spot each time. Here's another mountain scene. This is using cool colors. So we've got green, blue, violet, and blue violet. And again, we've got kind of the rotation around the center, so we can kind of see where the line starts here, where the line starts there, and that is our image that is repeated through there. Here is one of a little bit of a mushroom forest, where you can see everything kind of splits, and this one looks like it starts here, comes down to the center, and then goes up over here. So it can be fairly solid like the other ones, and it could be a little bit more sparse like this, where there's a lot more white space. This is a monochromatic, so we're using just green and the lights and darks of greens. And then here is one where we've got a volcano, and this is using warm and cool colors. So we've got our warm colors kind of that make it up. You can see where it comes through here and here. And then around the outside edge, we are using cool colors to complement the warm colors that are on the inside. So we've got a little bit of both things going on here, and that's ultimately what we're going to be doing with our project. All right, so we're going to start out with a piece of square thumbnail paper like this, and the reason why we want it to be square is because that's the size or the shape of the paper that we're going to be working with. So we want everything to be same. So we're going to line up the corners like this, and we are going to draw a line. What we're doing right now is we're finding center, and this is going to give us our sections that show us the quarters of the page. And then we're going to do the same thing going across this way. All right, so that is the center of our page. We're going to take compass, and we're going to place that right directly here on the center, and then we're going to come out to the section that is 4 inches out from center. So that is this line right here. And we're going to draw a circle that has a 4-inch radius, an 8-inch diameter, going across like this. All right, so from here, we're going to do some thumbnail drawings. I've already got some done on the other side here. So thumbnail number 1, we have an analogous design. So it's kind of a Greek Parthenon with Poseidon's trident down at the bottom, with some thunder or some lightning bolts coming down from Zeus from the top over here. And you have thumbnail number 2, which would be a warm pattern, where we've got kind of a geometric pattern going on here. This particular one, it lines up. That is the same position on each side going around over here. And we'll do a monochromatic one over here. Or, you know what, it can be anything. It can be a complement as well. We'll try that. All right. So we're just going to just make some stems that come out from here. And we want these to kind of be the same thickness, and have them go around. We'll make some flowers, and you know what, we can make them kind of cartoonish. That's fine. They don't have to look realistic, and that's what, if you want this to look realistic, you can make it look realistic. If you want it to be kind of cartoonish, let me start this, come up from the center here like this. They can be cartoonish. It can look however you want it to be. We're going to flip this around, and this is, since this is a thumbnail, we're just going to draw some rough shapes in as far as how the overall shape of the flower would look. And I'm just making this up off the top of my head. So we're kind of got like a collapsed rose, maybe a little bit of a tulip. And get those laying in here. This and make this one a little bit of a different one, where we've got petal coming out here. And remember, a thumbnail is just something that is a rough drawing. It doesn't have to be realistic. So I'm just kind of getting an idea put down here as far as what it could look like. And don't want this to run off the page. I want my design to be kind of contained within. So my very last petal going to be over here on the edge like this. Have one be kind of open a little bit, like that. Now, from here, I got my 3 designs. Use this last one. We're going to end up cutting this out. So what we're going to do is you have 2 options. You can either go into your thumbnail and you can make it a little bit more crisp. You can make it nice, clean design and clean it up and put a little bit more effort into it and not have to redraw it again. If your design was really rough like this one, then we definitely want to come over here and redraw that, make it look like it's all nice and pretty, so that way, you know, we can have a nice solid design to work from. So what we're going to do then is get that cleaned up, which I've done with this. So this here is that design cleaned up, you know, measured out, make sure everything is nice, neat, and tidy. We're going to cut this piece of paper. I did this from a larger piece of paper, so that's why I have a section like that. But ultimately, it's just this round portion here that we need to worry about. And you are going to get a 10-inch piece of paper, and we're going to follow through and do the exact same procedure. We're going to find our centers and go through like that, find the center just like we did on the smaller piece of paper. Go through like this, and we're going to draw that same 8-inch circle. So put that there, come out here like this, get our line drawn in like that. And then we're going to take this piece of paper and we're going to go over to the light box, and we are going to stick that underneath. And what's going to happen when we go to the light box is we are going to be able to look underneath this, okay, and we're going to be able to see our design through the page like that, and we're going to trace it out onto this piece of paper, so that way we can see what that image is going to look like. So we can see there, we can see our pattern through here, we can draw that on top of the page. Okay, so I have one that is already done, so that way when it's all said and done, this is what my design looks like. I think it works out really well. So we're going to have a on the inside here, we're going to have some warm colors, and then on the outside we're going to do the opposite, and it is going to have some cool colors. And it would be a good idea if especially if it's a geometric pattern like this, to go through and kind of label where each color is going to go. So we look here, I've got greens and blues and violets, where each of those is going to go, and on the inside here I've got everything labeled as well, to where those colors are going to go. So that way you have something to follow along with. You can lay it there, have it sit right next to it. As you're working on it, you can use it as a reference and go through it. Now what you're going to do then is you're going to start to put some color down. And what I've done with this one is I've got kind of each stage. I've got the circle where you first start out. I've got my line drawing here. I've got kind of a first pass with colored pencils here. I've got what, you know, maybe what we would consider a final pass. I've still got to go into it and kind of clean it, push some of the darks a little bit with a little bit of black, to kind of darken some areas up, give it a little bit of pizzazz, hit some areas with some white to give it a little bit of highlights. But ultimately what we're going to do is you're going to do that, and you're going to end up with something that is a finished piece like this one here, where it is fully colored on that whole square section of paper and all the way complete. So good luck and happy drawing.